Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather. I am a styling, skincare, hair care, self-care enthusiast. I don't have any training in anything. I just have people ask me questions about things sometimes. So I decided to start a YouTube channel to share my thoughts. So you might notice I have sort of a different background today. I'm still in my kitchen, but the light is different, and so I'm going to explain why that is in a minute. And so this is more of a self-care video, and if you've clicked on this, then you're sort of gonna hear out what I have to say about this situation here. So what I wanted to talk about is using astrology, tarot, crystals, and any combination thereof for pragmatic, practical self-care. And I'm gonna explain sort of how this works, because those two things don't usually go together: practicality and tarot and crystals and stuff. So basically, the reason that I've started getting into this stuff is because I want to always be becoming a better person. I want to find different ways to change my own attitude, and I want to find different ways to think about things, because we as humans, our brains tend to get stuck in certain neural pathways, and we'll think the same way about things all the time. And so you can use these different things in order to think about yourself, think about your life, think about your situations that you're finding yourself in, or that you're creating for yourself, or that you want to create for yourself in a different way. So the way this started is, I always would look at my horoscope. I am a Cancer Leo cusp, and so because my mom got to pick the day I was born, and so it's kind of fun to look at, and I never really sort of thought much of it. And then my good friend, she throws really cool parties, and so last year she threw a virtual party with this person who was an astrologist, and talking about how Venus is sort of organized in your particular star chart. And so it was around Valentine's Day. That's why they picked Venus. And I really hate it when people are like, "Oh, sorry, I'm being a jerk today. I'm a Virgo. It's just how I am." And I'm like, no, I really hate it when people use astrology to justify being a terrible person. And that's not what this astrologer did at all. She was talking about how to, use the different things that are contained in your star chart to think about things differently, to make yourself a better person, to kind of ponder who you are. And so, even if this ends up being a placebo effect, who cares? Placebo effects work really well. There's a lot of studies that say how effective placebo effects are. So I figure if it gives somebody comfort, if it gives somebody, a way to think about things differently, if it helps someone make a better choice, then I figure that's totally worth it. So there's also a book I have about signs, finding signs in the universe, that I got from an estate sale a while ago. And after the event, I bought the book that was recommended, which is this book by Chani Nicholas. And so as you can see, it's You Were Born for This: Astrology for Radical Self-Acceptance, which I think is such a cool concept. And so when you go to Chani Nicholas's website, you can actually get your star chart done. So here is my star chart. And so the way this works is that all the different slices of the pie are called houses with the numbers. And then you have the star signs out here on the outside. So I'm a Leo, so this is my Leo pie slice thing. And then you have where all the planets are as well in relation to those two things. So when you sort of cross-reference all three of these items, that can sort of help tell you something about yourself, maybe. So for example, there's a crap ton of different symbology and planets in my first house, and it's also in my sun sign, which is Leo. And so your first house is about how you sort of deal with yourself, how you identify with yourself, your sort of place in the world, the things that make you feel fulfilled. And I've always been sort of, I don't want to say I'm a loner, because that's wrong. I'm a social person, but I feel like it's like nobody really knows me. Sometimes I don't even really know me. And I haven't dated in a long time. I mean, I'm trying to date, but I'm okay being by myself. And sometimes I actually feel strange in a relationship. I have a lot of friends, but it took a while to get there. And also, sometimes I feel almost difficult to connect with people a little bit, like on a true spiritual, I know you as well as I know myself type level. And so, all of those different planets and stuff in that one house about me and myself, I'm like, wow, maybe this is sort of why I'm by myself a lot of the time, and why I'm okay with it. I actually love being by myself. It took a while for me to really like who I am as a person, but now that I do, I love being by myself. So I just think that's super interesting. And so the book also kind of leans into that. And so then, I've been looking at the astrology stuff, but then once I started getting into tarot, I got a little bit more interested in tarot. So my sister got married in New Orleans years ago, and my cousin had some adult beverages, and he decided we were going to go to one of the shops that was in the French Quarter and get our cards done, and he wanted to sort of buy me something. And so what I ended up getting is this Voices of the Trees here. And so what this is a set of cards. This is 25 cards here and the accompanying book. So this is sort of like tarot light. Tarot maybe for beginners. It's not actually tarot. What it is, people tend to call them angel cards. And so angel cards can have all different types of themes to them. So if you don't want trees, you can get, I think there's probably like cats or dogs or actual angels or like all kinds of different things. Excuse me, I'm sniffly this morning. So this is 25 cards, and basically what I end up doing is every morning I pick one of these cards for the day, and I sort of read what it's about. And it's pretty straightforward. Like the book tells you all about what the cards are. You can do different card configurations if you want. Like if you want to pull 2 or 3 or 4 different cards, it shows you like how to do that and how to read those. But I never really got that far with this particular deck. I just pull one and kind of read for myself for the day. And the cards mean different things if they are right side up or if they're upside down. This is the reversed, so you can take a look at that. So this is the first thing that I got. I've had this at least like 10 years at this point. And I don't really know exactly what made me sort of lean into this stuff, but then what I did is I looked on Etsy for some sort of like witchy things. And so witchy and Wiccan things are sort of 2 different things. Witchcraft, I guess, witch practice, that is something that sort of anybody can do any of these things, but witchcraft is practicing the craft. Being a witch is practicing the craft. Being a Wiccan is actually a religion. So I am not a Wiccan. This is not my religion. This is something that I do for my own sort of harmony and self-care and self-assurance. This is something I'm doing really entirely for myself. I'm not trying to like hurt anybody. I'm not trying to necessarily influence other people, except, in a very, very positive way. Speaking of religion, so I was on vacation recently, and I was with my parents, and I grew up in a very Roman Catholic household. We're Italian, and my mom was very into the church before the priest scandal really came to light in the late 90s, early aughts. So she's still, we're still kind of religious. We talk about like praying to Saint Anthony if you lose something, and she still goes to church. She's trying to find a church that she likes. I feel like she hasn't been consistent with the church she goes to. But I drew a pentacle on my ankle to see if I liked it for a tattoo idea. That's what I do with tattoo ideas. I use a permanent marker. I draw them on wherever I want it to go to see if I like it. So a pentacle is a pentagram that is in a circle. And so this is a very positive symbol in witch and Wiccan culture. It's meant to just, bring in all of the different types of energies in the world, and sort of be a symbol for that and for protection. My mom had a meltdown. She did not like that I had a pentacle. She's like, "You're going to hell. This is terrible, blah, blah, blah." Everybody has their own thoughts on religion. Some people can't stand religion. They want nothing to do with it. They don't believe in God. They don't I'm not trying to push any kind of religion on anybody. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But here's the way I feel about it. So, I do believe in God to a point, I think. And, God made everything, right? So if I am doing a spell, if I am using a crystal or sage or, a tea to kind of connect with myself and meditate, or to cleanse my home, or to, put certain thoughts, put certain energies out into the world. There's definitely research that shows that the attitude that you have, your self-image, your self-discipline, how you present yourself to the world has an impact on sort of what happens to you. And so if I'm using some of these different tools to get myself in that mindset to basically kind of put these positive things out into the world, to me, there's no difference between like using sage to do that and being in a church and having incense come around. What's the difference? I don't think there's a difference, really. So if you're, praying to Allah, or if you're using the Torah, or, if you're outside in nature, sort of on a hike, to me, that's sort of, all those messages are going to the same place. That's my personal opinion. And everybody has their own personal opinions about this stuff. Again, not trying to infringe on anyone, but, my mom goes to church and I do a spell. And to me, those are basically the same thing. The messages are getting to the same place. and you're putting the same energy out in the world. It's just a different way to do it. And this way is much more fun to me. It's also much more personal. Like, this is the way I want to do things. So that's my explanation of like this stuff with regards to religion. So again, I'm not a Wiccan. I'm not doing this as a religious practice. I'm doing this as sort of an energy practice, which I know sounds like energy practice. But again, your energy, putting like what you put in the world, that's a thing that has been studied. So moving on, I want to now show you the other witchy stuff that I have. Okay, so I went on Etsy. I found this shop called Town Witch Creations, TOWNE Witch Creations. And so this woman, her name is Cassandra, and she lives in Salem, Massachusetts with her husband, who is a Native American. And so she's actually descended, well, she says she's descended from the Salem witches that were there in Massachusetts. And her husband being Native, she's able to send ethically sourced sage that he, sources, and include that as part of her sort of witch toolkits, which I think is great. So if you get sage from unethical sources, it can take away, resources and money and property and all kinds of things from Native groups, and I certainly don't want to do that. So sage is one of the things that I have. So this is the white sage right here. And so the idea with this is that the smoke from the sage, the scent from the sage, the actual act of walking around your home, and your intentions with the sage are what can sort of cleanse your home. And so what you do is, I know this is going to be like mirrored because of the way the video works, but you go counterclockwise, so to the left, to banish out bad things from wherever you are. And then you go to the right to bring in the good things. So just the other day was the first day of the month. I opened up as many windows and doors with the screens as I could in my house, and I burned the sage. I went around the house and I cleansed my house. So that intention in my brain of like, getting out the bad energy and bringing in the good energy, that's what I did with this. Sage is not my favorite just because the scent after a while kind of gives me a headache. But another thing that you can use is this type of wood called Palo Santo. And so Palo Santo is really more of a positive energy bringer. So what I did is I followed up the sage with the Palo Santo, and I did the same thing, banishing the bad, bringing in the good. And so it just feels like a nice ritual in my house to have that good energy. Again, if it's a placebo effect, who cares? Placebos work, right? There's been a lot of studies about that. So these are two things that came. I actually ordered extra Palo Santo, so that's why this one isn't burned. I just happened to pick up the one that's not burned. So these are two of the things that I got from my witch kit from Cassandra. And then what was also included was like a whole bunch of these packets of herbs. And so these herbs, can be used to make different spells for different types of things. I'm assuming you could kind of make tea from them. And, I haven't actually gotten into the herbs a ton yet, but I will, because I'm getting, deeper and deeper into this whole thing. Another thing that came with my witchy kit is, so Cassandra made really, really good tea. So I just ordered more of her tea that came the other day, and I'm very excited to try it because this tea was like chocolate tea or something. It's delicious. Tea apparently has long been used as part of witch practices. It's pretty accessible. It's bringing you closer to the earth. It's getting those herbs out of the earth. She also included a bath soak. I'm not really a bath person, but I suppose I could try it. And so in my first witchy kit, another thing that was sent is this. So this is a piece of selenite. This is a crystal. So crystals are kind of the thing I believe in the least, and yet I have found a lot of comfort in the crystals that I've been using. So it's sort of like what is that called? I forget what it's called, but there's a thing when like you sort of believe one thing and you do a different thing and it's dissociative and all of that. So I really like this crystal. I don't know why I'm drawn to it so much. I actually liked it so much I got a second one. I got a bigger one from Cassandra, along with the tea. This was part of I got the tea, the Palo Santo, and this in my second package. And so before you do a spell, before you start a tarot reading, you are supposed to cleanse yourself and cleanse the cards. And so this is what I use. This is a very sort of positive but neutral stone. So there's some other crystals that are meant to do very specific things. This one's less specific. It's just sort of positivity. And so I'll do the same thing with the counterclockwise and clockwise that I did with the house. So I'll do it to myself. So I'll do, take out the bad, bring in the good. And that's how I will sort of cleanse myself. So over the weekend, I was at a friend's house for actually the same friend that does the parties. She had a birthday party. And so I actually brought my tarot cards because I want to practice doing tarot readings. And before each reading, I would cleanse the deck. So I would do the clockwise, counterclockwise business on the deck. And I asked whoever friend I was reading for to do that with the crystal themselves, on themselves, just like I did. So I'd cleanse myself and I would have them cleanse themselves. And so I ended up doing, I think, 3-4 readings. And everybody was very happy with my readings, which is very exciting because I'm not that great at them yet. I'm still practicing. So I thought that was super cool. And the thing with the crystals is, from a physics perspective, every single thing in the world has a different vibration frequency. That's why there's different materials. That's why there's metals versus carbon versus plastic versus fur, like whatever. They all vibrate at different frequencies. This is known scientific fact. The thing with the crystals is that the people that really believe in the crystals believe that those frequencies, those vibrations have an impact on you and your body. So I don't know exactly how true that is. I don't know exactly how much I believe in that myself, but weirdly, I have found a lot of comfort out of these crystals. This one in particular, this little one. And so another thing that happened is I was in a situation recently where I was cranky about something, and I needed to basically give myself an attitude adjustment. And so that's what I did with the crystals. I had a few of them with me. I had a suggestion to bring along, not the amethyst. It's these 3. They're still in their little bag. So because of the things that I ordered, I didn't actually order any crystals, but the tarot card deck that I ordered, as well as something else, came with crystals. So now I just have a bunch of them. And so I have this one. This is a clear one that's kind of neutral. The black one I think is sort of to banish things, this onyx, and then this one is sort of like a grounding crystal with you can see it has like stripes. And so I put on some like sad music, and I was kind of in my feelings, and I had my crystals in my hand, and I was kind of feeling them around. One of the things people say is like, oh, the crystals start to warm up. That means that, you're putting your energy into it. And I'm like, well, yeah, because that's how it works. When you hold things in your hand, it transfers body heat. So I'm like, Anyway, so I held the crystals, and all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I need to listen to some happy music now to get myself back in the right headspace. So I put on some Lizzo. And so after, 20 minutes of like 10 minutes of sad music and 10 minutes of happy music, I literally had given myself an attitude adjustment, which I think is kind of cool. It actually like legitimately worked. So if it works, who cares? Who cares if people think it's dumb? Who cares if people think you're woo-woo or silly or whatever? Like, if it works for you, it works for you. You're not hurting anybody, and it's fun. So anyway, here's a whole bunch of crystals that I have. I also ordered a specific pink crystal because I am, I'm attempting to date, and I did a paramour spell, which is to bring a romantic partner into your life. Hasn't quite worked yet, but maybe somebody's moving here. I don't know. So putting my intentions out there in the world that it'd be, I don't need it, but it would be nice if I found a life partner type of thing. Another thing that came in my witchy kit is this incense, which I haven't had a chance to burn yet, but it smells really good. This frangipani. So that was really nice to get. Anyway, these witch kits from Cassandra are really, really nice. So Town Witch Creations with an E on Etsy. I'm not affiliated with her, by the way. There's no like coupon code. I don't get a kickback. I just really like the things that she provided to me. So, all right. So keep moving here. Another thing, another witchy thing that I have here is I have some candles. So I got these candles off Amazon, and as part of your spells, you can anoint them with different oils and make your intentions known. So I have 2 pink ones that are missing because I used them to make the paramour spell. The only thing with these is that I think they're carcinogenic because when you burn them, the smoke is black, which is apparently not great. So I'm just gonna sit like far away from them. And then I also ordered some oils here, some essential oils. And so I wanted to get a large variety, but not a lot of any one of them. And so here's all the oils that I got. This is also from Amazon. I think this was like $25. And so I've decided, my middle name is Rose, so I really like roses, and that's one of my oils. And I've also decided lemons are like a sign for me. So rose and lemon are oils that I use a lot. Be careful when you're looking for oils or you ask people for oil recommendations though, because that's when a lot of multi-level marketing people can come out of the woodwork, and those companies can be very predatory. So be careful with those. Another thing that Cassandra sent, by the way, is a little pamphlet here with explaining different things. So she has different sized kits for witchy stuff that she can send. So I'm trying to save up for a couple different trips and things. So I didn't get like the largest box that she has, but there's a lot of different things that she can include. So she kind of put this in there. Alrighty. Another thing that I have here in my kit is people call this either a book of shadows or a grimoire, which I can't even say without rolling my eyes. And so this is a journal basically to keep track of your witchy business. I hate journaling personally, but I have it and I've written in it like once or twice. So I may write in it again. This book in particular means something to me because I'm in this gift giving group where we rotate like who we give gifts to in this group, and this was something that was sent to me from England. So I this is close to me. So if I'm gonna have a grimoire or a book of shadows, then this is gonna be it. So I've written a couple things in here. Something else that I got is this is some cat whiskers. So I've been calling my cats my familiars. These gotta have magic in them, honestly. So I'm saving these. I don't know for what, but I'm gonna make a spell with these cat whiskers in it. So another thing that I ended up getting is this beginner spell book. And so a lot of these spells sort of amount to, you're lighting a candle in front of you and stating your intentions. You might be anointing the candle, but like, again, a lot of it's very close to a lot of things done in like the Christian religion that I grew up in. It's not super different. It's more personal. I did have a friend of mine that says it matters where your words go, and that's what the biggest difference is. Which, like, they can believe that all they want. That's cool. That's not what I believe. I think if you're putting the words out in the world, they all get to the same place. So this is a good beginner spell book. The only criticism I've seen of this spell book online is that it really focuses only on white magic and everything that's helpful. But the thing is, even with just general energy, like anything you put out in the world, you're going to get it back tenfold. So like if you tried to hex somebody or something, like that's probably going to come back on you. Like don't do that. So I really only focus on positive spells, trying to bring good things in the world, bring good things in my own life, bring good things in other people's lives. I'm really just trying to help and again, change my own attitudes and thought processes about things. So as I mentioned, every morning I pull one of these angel cards, the Spirit of the Trees, and I sort of do a reading for myself for the day. A second kind of card that I pull for the day is one of these spell deck cards. So this spell deck has rituals, spells, recipe for love, empowerment, healing, a whole bunch of different things. And so you can kind of go through these, and it has just information about stuff and incantations you can do and like all kinds of stuff. The artwork on it is really beautiful. There's 4 different types of artwork on here, 4 different like colors. And so this top one here is just talking about fire. And so an invocation for fire to be used when calling in the elements during a circle or connecting to sacred flames. So fire is in a lot of different religions for a lot of different reasons, a lot of different witch and Wiccan practices because it's, one of the elements. It's one of the things that we need to survive. It's very hypnotizing if you sort of stare into a flame. So what can you see in that flame? What is your brain going to, like when you sort of let down your defenses, what are you going to be able to see through the smoke and through the flame? So I pull one of these for each day as well. And so then the third thing that I pull is an actual tarot card. So this is a set of tarot cards that I got off of Amazon. It seems to be working out pretty well. And so the most popular tarot card deck in the world with the specific artwork is the Rider-Waite deck. And so that's what this is. You're supposed to have a couple of different decks. One deck for doing readings on others and like practicing. One deck for yourself, and then one deck maybe to post different cards in your grimoire, which I'm like, that sounds kind of expensive. I think I'm just going to stick with 2 decks. So in the not too distant future, I'm going to be going to New Orleans, and I figure if I'm going to find a tarot deck that really speaks to me, New Orleans is the place to buy it, right? I might need to do a really good cleansing on it when I get home because there's a lot of stuff that circles around New Orleans. But I'm really excited to find my next tarot deck there. Over the weekend at that party when I was doing those readings, there was somebody there from Philadelphia, and he mentioned that there's actually a deck for Philadelphia, like iconography from the city, and so like representative on the different cards, which I thought was hysterical. He actually looked it up and like showed a few to me. They're very funny. So I'm assuming that they're Well, they're funny if you get the references anyway. I'm assuming that there's tarot cards, tarot decks based on all different places all over the world, and all different types of things. I just haven't really like explored it yet. I really want to see what I find in New Orleans before like I start looking online. And so there's two different types of cards that are in this deck. One type of card is going to be a suit, like a deck of cards. So Pentacles is one of the suits, so like 2 of Pentacles, and then it goes all the way up to like they don't have knights, they have pages, and you know, kings and queens and aces and stuff. The other type of card is going to be like something like this, like the Sun or the Fool or something like that. This one is the Hermit. And so these guys apparently are called Major and Minor Arcana. And then what you can do is, well, these are the 3 things that I'm doing right now. I pull one card for myself for the day to kind of like focus on and use it as a way to think about things. You could do yes or no questions. I can answer a yes or no question with the cards. And also, I can do a 3-card spread with past, present, future. So I ended up using all of these different tactics over the weekend. I had a friend who wanted the past, present, future, and it was the 3 cards were really telling the same story, which is kind of cool because it was talking about like, okay, this one is telling you that like you really know yourself. You spend a lot of time figuring out how to know yourself. And now this card is saying that the middle card, present, is saying that you're learning a lot about a certain situation. And then the future card was saying like, but you still have a lot of learning to go. All of them were focused on learning. It was really interesting. Another thing about the cards is that as you get like, as you handle them more, as you kind of think about this stuff more, all of the books and stuff, because I have this book that came with the cards, but I also got this book to read the cards. You know, it's saying to trust your intuition and to try to, you know, really listen to your own interpretation of the cards. And it's like, well, if it's your own interpretation, then like, what's the point? Like, you could just interpret anything. And it's like, well, you're trying to listen to yourself better. And so sometimes because of how we work as humans, we have a hard time listening to our own feelings or listening to our own gut or listening to our own intuition. And so if we can use these cards to really like get past that, like that's really cool. That's a thing that's going to be helpful, right? And so this is the 3rd thing I do every day is I pick a card for myself sort of for the day. And so what's interesting, I think, is that these 2 books often interpret things differently. I like this book a lot, but this book, it was okay to start with. And so, you know, I'm really just, I don't know, I have a really good time. It's very centering to do this every morning for myself. And also these cards, by the way, they came in this beautiful little pouch. And the inside of this is silk, and the cards really like being in silk, so that's a good thing to keep them in. These were only like $12, I think, on Amazon. So anyway, I hope that this has been helpful for somebody. I really enjoy using these things for self-care, for figuring out who I am as a person, for becoming a better person, for changing my own attitude, and for putting good energy out into the world. If there's any questions I can answer for somebody about what I'm doing here and why, I'd be more than happy to answer those things. And I hope you have a really awesome rest of your day. Thanks so much. Bye.